t-shirt brand off the ground. You know, I got my own t-shirt brand too, called Humble Growth and shit. But this one was Licks my uncle and shit got going on and shit. So, you know, I represent, you know, my city to the fullest. Let motherfuckers know exactly how I'm coming and, you know, where I come from and how I end up changing my life and coming down here to Houston and shit and trying to make a better life for a motherfucker.
Shot Town in the motherfucking building. Dollar bill.
Straight up. RP my nigga Verdi Love.
Loud for sure. AG in the building, rocking out with your boy Capitalist, man. It's a blessing, bro. This one of those, you hear me? This like the Boosie and Vlad, you feel me?
Straight up, yeah.
Nah, for sure, man. Give these folks a proper introduction for those who don't know who I got in front of me, because you're not just you're not an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This life right now, you hear me?
Straight up.
Go on, bless him a little bit, man.
Shit, man, my name AG, you know, from over east, you know what I'm saying? Real no limit motherfucker and shit from the Medina 83rd, you know, just to get that correct. And shit, you know what I'm saying? Chicago raised and shit. They've been through a lot of shit in my life, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm always told, like, you know, to your life is a testimony about a lot of real motherfuckers I bump into. So I figured, shit, fuck it. I'm like, if I can get a chance to tell my shit, I'm going to tell it correct. You know what I'm saying?
Capitalist, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. I feel like you came to the right platform to get that out. Yes, Lord.
Oh, for sure. Shout out Capitalist, man.
Nah, for sure. It's love, gang. Shoot, man, we gonna get into it a little bit. Let's hop into I appreciate Cuz Lil Greg for getting into it. He not gonna expect me to throw him in there like that. I had to.
Shout out to Lil Cuz, man. You know, he a motherfucker, man. That's a nigga. That's another motherfucker that came from the shit, you know, in the city, losing brothers and shit. You know, I done lost brothers. He done lost brothers. You know, and now he down here in Houston doing his thing. Real stand-up nigga. Shout out Lil Greg.
Nah, for sure, man. What side of the city you representing again? I missed it.
I'm from the east side, bro. Southeast side, you know what I'm saying? That's what most motherfuckers know it as, the east side, though, you know what I'm saying? People get it confused. Like, in Chicago, it's like you got State Street that divide east and west, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, Madison going towards, like, downtown area, that's like, divide south and north. So if you on this side of Madison, you on the south side, really. But then, like, if you grew up on this part of the motherfucking state, then your ass was considered, that's the southwest side of Chicago. But over east, from state to the lake, that's the east side. That's why I was born and raised, bro.
Nah, for sure. So I was getting ready to ask you, because I hear a lot of, it's confusing, because I hear a couple old heads would be like, nah, ain't no east side, it's all south side, the east side, the south side. How you feel about that, man?
Man, to be honest, when you got a lot of people talking about, you know, something pertaining to that, they ain't really come from where we come from, you know what I'm saying? Like, and, you know, like, for a long time, you know, yeah, the east side was, you know, it was underrated, but shit, you know, that's what we call it, the east side, you know what I'm saying? Like, I done heard a few people, like, you know, people that don't come from where I come from, I just let them talk. I'm like, all right, you say so. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. How would you describe it growing up on the east side, man?
Man, you know, shit, it was pretty rough, you know what I'm saying? I mean, before I even got into any of that street shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, I wasn't like the normal statistic kid, you know what I'm saying, growing up just with a single mama, and you know what I'm saying? My mom and my father, you know, they still married to this day, you know, but you know, when it's like a jungle, G, you know what I'm saying? And it's like you got choices at the end of the day. Me per se, just growing up, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of my childhood friends and shit, you know, the city alone, or my part of the city, you know, you run into a lot of obstacles at an early age, you know what I'm saying? People trying to rob you, different blocks of niggas trying to jump on you because they ain't recognizing you, you know what I'm saying? Or like, you know, just having to really, like, overcome a lot of the bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Because, like you in it, like, whether you don't want to be in it or not, you know what I'm saying? You, like, born in the shit, you know? So, my father, he was from the west side, you know what I'm saying? He from the west side and shit, but to change his whole surrounding and try to raise me in a different manner, he moved to the east side when I was 1 and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, throughout life and shit, you know, I jumped off the porch pretty early, you know what I'm saying? Probably around, like, 11 years old and shit, seeing motherfuckers get shot, seeing the big homies and shit, you know what I'm saying, getting the quick money and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? And to a young motherfucker, sometimes that could be intriguing, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, like, once you step off that porch, only the real motherfuckers can relate. you jump off that porch and shit, you gotta deal with what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got down there like over 30 some dead friends. You know what I'm saying? And I try to explain to a lot of people because I work in the medical field now and shit. You know, they ask me like, what made you change it up and everything or whatever. You know, when you see so many people get killed, you know what I'm saying, that you grew up with, that you love and shit like that or whatever, it kind of like turn on a different switch in you, you know what I'm saying? Like it turn you into a demon, like mentally, you know what I'm saying? You I wouldn't say grow up being afraid, but if you see a motherfucker like that you hang with since you was a kid and shit, you know, get whacked or some motherfuckers get down on them and shit like that or whatever, you know, the fear, I know that a lot of young black men that come up on the Southeast Side, you know, it'd be like, well, shit, that could be me. You know what I'm saying? So I try to explain to like a few women that I deal with, you know, like growing up, you either gonna be a motherfucking shark or you gonna be a motherfucking fish getting ate by the shark. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of different things that you didn't want to do or, you know, never saw yourself doing, you would end up doing it just off what's going on around you and shit, you know? So that's how I end up just getting involved in a lot of deep ass street shit, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I went to school and shit, you know, graduated from high school and all that and shit, but, you know, it's like to keep my OG in them, you know what I'm saying, on one side of it, and like, yeah, I'm doing right, you know, to keep them off your ass and shit. Of course, you're gonna go to school and do all that, but, you know, like I say, shit, once you step outside of school, now it's reality, you know what I'm saying? You might get off that bus and shit, you know what I'm saying, and walk down the block, and you or one of your homies or something, you know what I'm saying, and probably got into a fight at a party that last weekend or something, then motherfuckers find out where you at, then they come sliding, you know what I'm saying, they come, you know, sending shots and all that crazy shit. So like I say, you know, I had a choice, you know, but, you know, it's just that everybody got to go through their phase in this shit, you know?
Nah, for sure, Cap. I want to know, shit. So, do you feel like you had no choice to gang bang, or you did have the opportunity to be like, nah,
Yeah, you know, I had a choice, you know, because, you know, I was always a fast motherfucker, so, you know, a lot of motherfucking, like, coaches and shit that be in high school, you know, shout out my coach, Coach Jimmy, you know, he passed now, you know what I'm saying, but, he just, you know, he saw something in the motherfucker, you know, and used to try to keep me out of bullshit, because the high school I went to, George Washington, it was predominantly Latinos, you know what I'm saying, it was in a Latin neighborhood, so, you know, a lot of them, they automatically just think you GD, you know what I'm saying, because they was the Latin kings and shit, so, you know, motherfuckers had to fight their way to go to school, fight their way up out that motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, so, like, yeah, motherfucker had a choice, but shit, you know, like, with me being a motherfucker that loves so hard, I love my hood, you know what I'm saying, because I learned a lot from my hood, you know what I'm saying, I gained a lot, but I lost a lot, too, when it came to my shit, so I just, you know, I chose to, you know, get involved, per se, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, if motherfuckers trying to hurt your homies and shit, and you know you a motherfucker that love, like I say, I love hard shit, you know, for the love of my homies and shit, you know, I'm gonna ride, you know. It's like I say, a switch get cut on in you and shit where, you know, you would try, you know, to stay out the way and do all that other shit. But like, you know, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen at any given moment and shit. That's in my hood per se, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's kinda like you get to that point where you be like, man, I gotta start showing motherfuckers that I ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? And before you know it, you 10 years deep in the shit, you know what I'm saying? You getting caught some cases and shit, then end up in that county and shit, getting involved with all type of shit in there. You know, or you just get a name for yourself for doing certain things. Like I try to tell my parents and my family, you know, it's a difference between like having love from your family and having that hood love. You know what I'm saying? That hood love is a motherfucker. It's really a monster, because it's like once you see like, oh, okay, well, if I get down like this, or if I carry myself like this, motherfuckers already know it's gonna be some problems if they ever try to, you know, step on the line and shit, and motherfuckers learn that lesson over time. And you know, shit, just through the obstacles and shit, you know. I went through a rough patch, but you know, through the grace of Allah and shit, you know what I'm saying, these days and shit, I got a son now, so you know, when you bring kids in the world and shit, they ain't asked to be here, so you know, you got a choice to keep that shit going, or you got a choice to switch the shit up, you know what I'm saying, and make shit better and shit. And, you know, everybody know once you involved in that street shit, like real deep within that street shit, you know what I'm saying? We all know the ending consequences or the end of the story. Shit, you can either end up in one of them boxes in the ground or you can end up in one of them motherfucking steel cages and shit for the rest of your motherfucking life if you don't move smart.
For sure, give him a 17-year-old AG.
Shit, at 17, shit, I was, man.
Mindset, environment,
Man,
surroundings, where he was
at 17, shit, at 17, I was fighting a motherfucking strong arm robbery, you know, in high school and shit.
What kind of a person would you describe as 17-year-old AG?
Shit, to be honest, a motherfucker who ain't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? It's like, shit, I'm in it to win it, you know what I'm saying? I was fucking with the weed real heavy and shit, you know what I'm saying? Riding decent and shit, little infinity and shit. You know, fucking with different females from here and there, you know what I'm saying? Like, just loving that shit, loving the life. I was in love with the street shit at that point, you know what I'm saying? So, I was really just, man, I was on some, like, road to failure type shit. I could remember plenty days and shit around 17, 18 years old. Well, my own parents used to tell me, boy, your ass gonna end up dead, boy. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, shit, Allah had a motherfucking, he held a motherfucking down, so I shook that shit, you know?
How would you describe Cook County Jail, man?
Oh, man, that's gladiator school. If you ain't a motherfucker that's with it, shit, you better get with it. Because if you don't, shit, anything can happen to your ass and that motherfucker. Like, you might fuck around and ain't seen a motherfucker for 5 years and shit. And you been bumped into this nigga and now he got motherfucking 3-4 different motherfucking neighborhoods fucking with him and shit. You know what I'm saying? They catch you come through that deck. It's like, oh shit, there you go. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you remember what was going on in the street, my nigga? Shit, tie your boots up, nigga. It's time to go there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that shit a motherfucker. I wouldn't wish the county jail on nobody ass, to be honest, bro. Like, to all the little young niggas and shit that's in Chicago and shit that ain't seen that shit, it's like once you in that shit, it's hard to get the fuck out. Trust me, bro. It's so fucking hard to get the fuck out.
For sure. You also mentioned you was No Limit.
Yeah, man. I'm No Limit, No Law from 83rd. You know what I'm saying? From the Medina and shit.
Nah, for sure. What's the difference between your No Limit and G Herbo's No Limit? Little baby No Limit.
Well, you know, they from Tailtown. They from 79th all the way back to like 75th and shit. Now, me and them guys, we got a major age gap, you know what I'm saying? So before it was even, you know, any of that separation shit, No Limit was No Limit, you know what I'm saying? I could remember days and shit being like, you know, 13, 14 and shit, motherfuckers from 79th Street, motherfuckers from 87, motherfuckers from 83rd was all, sharing the park and shit, you know, Ecclesall and shit, motherfuckers used to hoop. Motherfuckers come through that bitch and, you know what I'm saying, they ain't from around there and shit, you know, we'll quickly get on their ass riding as a team. But it's like after, I think maybe by the time I turned 23, you know, I got a lot of little cousins and stuff like that that grew up right there in the Medina and shit. And, you know, like I say, everybody gotta, you know, walk their own, you know, path when it comes to that shit. And to be honest, the core of the difference, I don't really see it as no difference, you know what I'm saying? Even when I ran into Lil Herb one time, Minister Louis Farrakhan, he had a conference at his crib, and you know they just wanted a lot of different guys that was from, like, in my age group, or a lot of people that was in the streets that had somewhat of a street influence over us, like in their neighborhood. You know, I even, you know, came to Shorty and like, you know, and like, man, hey, you know, I know you don't know me, you know what I'm saying? I don't really know you and shit, but I know you from down on that end. And I know my little cousins and them, they down on this end. You know, my little homies and them, they down on this end and shit, bro. Like, you know, if anything, motherfuckers could come together and, you know, try to, like, bury a lot of whatever little small shit, you know what I'm saying, that I have motherfuckers, you know, looking at each other as oppositions and shit. Because if we looking at each other as oppositions, but we claiming the same gang and shit, then, you know, it's like, how do we win, you know, as people and shit. You know, I ain't never been no hating ass nigga, you know what I'm saying? I always was taught by my father, you know, Benny Lee, you know, to be a man is to speak up. You could bump into, like, where a lot of people get shit fucked up at is when it's an elephant in the room and shit. Some motherfuckers just let that motherfucker sit there instead of like, hey, speaking up on that shit. You know what I'm saying? If I feel like, you know, for the survival of my people and shit, you know, not just necessarily no motherfuckers that's claiming no limit, but, you know, as black men and shit, if motherfuckers, you know, like come together or just get to the core of what the bullshit all about, you know, that's how motherfuckers save lives and that's how motherfuckers come together and that's real, you know, unified shit. You know what I'm saying? That's for one, being a man, being a real motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, and speaking up on what's going on. You know, so to me, in my eyes, there's no difference. But, you know, throughout the years, so much shit that happened between motherfuckers that's younger than me, you know what I'm saying, that's doing what they doing now, that they didn't, you know, they didn't kind of lost, like, they lost that vision of, we all as one, you know what I'm saying? It's like, shit, a lot of my big homies and shit from Town, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it ain't never used to be no separation in my eyes, but then when I started realizing, you know, gunfire going off and all that shit, you know, it's like, hey man, you know, I would get, you know, teachers from some of my older mentors or older motherfucking street niggas that tell me like, hey bro, if you know motherfuckers over here and you know motherfuckers over here, why don't you try to bring them together and shit, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people just let the shit just go on and not necessarily speak on it because they'll be afraid of what they homies and them will be thinking like, oh man, you trying to squash some shit? Nah, we on that. Them the motherfuckers that end up losing.